Hello, my lovely Scorpios. I started, here we go. I started doing this reading after I'd already received an impression for you earlier today. And it was the thought that dropped into my head, spiritual warrior. And I thought, well, that's pretty generic. But then as I sat down here, I saw a suit of armor. And it changed from being a medieval suit of armor into being a samurai warrior's outfit. And what I started to do was reflect on what the samurai warrior represented. I did a little research. What I didn't realize, I was very thrilled to find out that there were also female samurai warriors. But the thing that struck me about the samurai warrior more than anything was that they stood for a code of honor. They stood for a code of honor that was usually linked to another person, to somebody that they gave their loyalty to, but loyalty was a key component of it. But it was also them being very centered within themselves. Their code of honor, their sense of values was so much a part of their personality that whatever fighting they did, it was always from a centered core. It was always from them knowing who they were and knowing where they belonged. And I feel like this is something Scorpio has been learning over the last while. And I say while because I think many of the Scorpios that I'm speaking to are ones who have felt that they were in a battle for much of their lives in one way or another, either fighting stereotypes, fighting cultural expectations, fighting perceptions of themselves, but that there's always been or often been a sense of struggle and a sense of conflict for Scorpio. Now, what I've been seeing through these process of readings is that Scorpio has done so much healing. And I think that's why I'm seeing the samurai for them, because what I've experienced with Scorpio is that they've really had to pull back their energy from being an external conflict. They've had to learn and grow how to detach from whatever the external experience of conflict was in order to be able to move inward and heal, and as a process of healing, really discover the true spiritual nature of themselves. Now, of course, discovering our true spiritual nature is a process. For very few people does it happen like that. It would be an awful lot for our nervous system to handle if it were to happen just like that. So that's fine. Take your time. What I'm being told here is the amount of energy and the amount of capacity that you had to fight in struggle with the external world and with demons in your own mind. You have exactly that and more energy to apply to the fight as a spiritual warrior. The difference is what you're doing is you're working from that centered place like a samurai would. You are working now from an understanding of the fact that your energy is vast, that you, for some reason, Scorpio, are coming into being one of the signs that is incredibly powerful in being able to discern the nature of energy and how to work with it in a positive way and how to bring it in and coalesce it into something that you can apply in the world as we know it to be. Now, we also know that one of the aspects of Scorpio is that they like to understand, they like to know, they like to dig to the bottom of things and really understand the nature of what has gone on, why, where it's going. And that is something that is a skill to be able to do that. And you have actually developed a lot of intuition and a lot of rational processing capabilities because of that. Where you're going with this, however, is to another level of frequency, where you are going to be able to work at a level of energy and vibration that allows you to be a warrior in a different way. And for some of you, it's going to be potentially by being high-level meditators, shamans, healers. For some of you, it's going to be working within the worldly world and understanding how to work with energy, intuition, guidance to discover, uncover, and clear things that need to be cleared and regulated, either in relationship, in job, in social context. There is a range, because the range is going to be covering where anyone is at in their particular skill set, in their particular evolution. Please remember, evolution does not mean that you are at a higher state of evolution if you're doing obvious spiritual work, as compared to somebody who is applying value, intuition, guidance to something that seems like a more concrete table and chair reality kind of work. It's the energy with which you do the work, and everybody is going to have their own skill set. The thing that is really, really clear here for me is that all of you are going to be at different stages. But what it feels like it's about is that you are a sign that is very much water and earth. You're very much able to understand the intuitive aspect of things, the energetic aspect of things, the underlying aspect of things, and bring it into form on earth. You're actually a really, really, really powerful sign because of that. In Ayurveda, we would look at that and say Pitta. You've got fire and water, which means you have the capacity to really, really tune into both the male quality energies, the logical thinking, the ability to move out and create connections and expand beyond yourself in community. But you're also connected to water, which is very much a female energy, receptivity, healing, guidance, connection at a personal level, and really being able to tune into deeper self-conscious awareness in a way where you get to reevaluate what your ego structure and your personality is and how you can apply that in the world. Scorpio, you are spiritual warriors, and I'm getting shivers as I say this. This really feels to me, at whatever stage you're at, Scorpio, you have got many, many gifts. And as you are, I'm looking at the cards and I'm not even speaking them. What it's being told is that in the process of evolving this for yourself, understand that you have the capacity to choose at every step of the way where you want to be and how you want to be of service, because you are very much of service in some way. And it doesn't have to be world service in the way we think of world service. It can be service within your family. Because again, please remember, everything is connected. It's not isolated. You're not just doing this or just doing that. The energy with which you do it is feeding us all, right? So compassion, move away from criticism, move away from judgment and reproach, and really let yourself be curious. And especially when it comes to yourself, be so careful to move beyond reproach. Give yourself as much compassion as you possibly can, because this is where you move into that sacred center of yourself and can begin operating from that. And that's what I feel you're growing. This is the part of you that is expanding. It's the part of you that now anchors into a new understanding of who you are, your value, your gifts, your abilities. You're able to now start looking at things in a new way and realizing that you don't have to stay embattled, that you have the power to choose how you want to be and how you want to approach this. You are evolving energetically, you're evolving spiritually, and there are going to be whole new ways for different people depending upon where they are. When you find yourself stuck, stand back and look at what is a pattern for you, and look at where you've held yourself back by saying things to yourself, but also by overanalyzing things. When I say saying words to yourself, I got distracted because this is really very much the language that we speak to ourselves is so very important because our body is listening to it. So when you engage in using words that are really limiting, that are negative, when you're talking about yourself, when you're talking about anybody, but especially when you're talking about yourself, your own gifts, your own abilities, when you start choosing to bad talk yourself, what you're doing is you're really disempowering yourself, right? Because that, if you were, to put it simply, if you were really connected to your heart, when you are really connected to your heart, you can't speak in that language. You can't speak in shoulds and can'ts and won'ts and any negative labels that you put on yourself or other people. You can't, because it's incongruent and it feels uncomfortable, and so you don't want to do it. When you are in that state of, you're very much in your personality, your ego mind, which is very disconnected often, still very often for many of us, from the heart space. That is not powerful. You are powerful when you are in your heart space. Your heart space generates from the middle of you. It generates from the essential self of who you are spiritually. So in your heart space, what language do you use towards yourself and towards other people? It's not, okay? So going along with this, please have compassion. You are growing in a big way. And you're being asked to look at whatever patterns you have in terms of your self-talk, your self-recriminations, any kind of shaming behavior or repeated thoughts of things that are negative, things that you could have done differently. Stop yourself. Look at it with new eyes. Look at it from the point, there you go. Look at it with the point of view that you are the only one. Your ego, your personality is the only one who's reinforcing any of that negative stuff. And how would you deal with it if you really believed that the divine, the sacred, the mother, the father, the holy, loved you, adored you, was just totally on board with whatever you were doing as a part of your growth and your experience? And that's the other thing. As much as this is, you are very often of service, Scorpio, you are being told to hold yourself in love and appreciation. And remember, whatever you do for anybody else, whatever you decide to do, the whole purpose that you're here is for you to really love yourself and to hold yourself in spiritual esteem, and to understand that what you're here to do is to grow in understanding your innate innocence and the power that you have to create, and that you get to decide how you want to create, what you want to create, that it does not have to be highfalutin in order to be absolutely perfect. When it is guided by your heart, you'll get the support that you need. You have support. God is head over heels in love. The Divine Mother is head over heels in love. Take your time, be gentle, have compassion for yourself, and make the choices that support you in love and in appreciation and consideration for where you're at in your stage of growth. Have compassion for yourself. Choose gently, choose kindly, knowing that Spirit is behind you in this, and that you are going to discover whole new parts of yourself you didn't even know were there. Okay, Scorpio? Take care, my very dear friend.